All right, well, now we're live.
You want me to read it? My eyes aren't tired now.
It works for me.
Sounds good.
It's chapter what again?
Chapter 2.
Two.
Chapter 2.
You
Hmm.
guys already did chapter 1?
Yes, we did.
Oh, Friday night, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been spending more time on Friday nights with my son, so.
we finished Hebrews, did Philemon real quick, and then did Joshua 1.
Spending time with family is very important.
Hmm. We all there?
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua the son of Nun sent 2 men secretly to Shittim as spies, saying, "Go view the land, especially Jericho." And they went and came to the house of a prostitute whose name was Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told to the king of Jericho, "Behold, men of Israel have come here tonight to search out the land." Then the king of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, "Bring out the men who have come to you, who entered your house, for they have come to search out the land." But the woman had taken the 2 men and hidden them. And she said, "True, the men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. And when the gate was about to be closed at dark, the men went out. I do not know where the men went. Pursue them quickly, for you will overtake them." But she had brought them up to the roof and hid them with stalks of flax that she had laid in order on the roof. So the men pursued after them on the way to the Jordan as far as the fords, and the gate was shut as soon as the pursuers had gone out. Before the men lay down, she came up to them on the roof, and she said to them, "I know that the Lord your God, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water from the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and Og, who you devoted to destruction. And as soon as we heard it, our hearts melted, and there was no spirit left in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that as I have dealt kindly with you, you also will deal kindly with my father's house, and give me a sure sign that you will save alive my father and my mother, my brothers and my sister, and all who belong to them, and deliver our lives from death." And the men said to her, "Our lives for yours, even to death. If you do not tell this business of ours, then when the Lord gives us the land, we will deal kindly and faithfully with you." Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was built into the city wall, so that she lived in the wall. And she said to them, "Go into the hills, or the pursuers will encounter you, and hide there 3 days until the pursuers have returned. Then afterwards you may go your way." The men said to her, "We will be guiltless with respect to this oath of yours that you have made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, you shall tie a scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and you shall gather all of your house, your father, your mother, your brothers, and all of your father's household. Then, if anyone goes out of the doors of the house into the street, his blood shall be on his own head, and we shall be guiltless. But if a hand is laid on anyone who is with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head. But if you tell this business of ours, then we shall be guiltless with respect to your oath that you have made us swear." And she said, "According to your words, so be it." Then she sent them away, and they departed, and she tied a scarlet cord in the window. They departed and went into the hills, and remained there 3 days until the pursuers returned. And the pursuers searched all along the way and found nothing. Then the 2 men returned. They came down from the hills and passed over and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and they told him all that had happened to him. And they said to Joshua, "Truly the Lord has given all the land into our hands, and also all the inhabitants of the land melt away because of us."
Yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff.
So it seems to me from this, it seems like the Israelite army didn't really do too much because it was the fear of God that went out before them.
Yeah, it's definitely, like what Yahweh did in in Egypt and to the people all around, like it says in verse 10, for we have heard how Yahweh dried up the waters of the Red Sea before you as you were going out of Egypt, also that which you have done to the two kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and to Og, whom you destroyed. So it's like these miracles that, happened, like it went out. Like that was the reason. And like Romans 9 kind of talks about how, like, let me go to it. Kind of like just
To
like the
display my
destruction.
power.
Yeah, let me just read that so it sounds perfect. Um, let's see, where is that at? Verse 17, for the scripture says to Pharaoh, for this very purpose I raised you up, so that I might display my power in you, and so that my name might be publicized in all the earth. And so, that's exactly what happened. The people of the other nations knew, and, this chapter just, recognized that.
I don't know who Sihon is, but I believe Og was 36 feet tall, whereas Goliath was only like 9 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, they didn't all give up so easily, though. They might have heard the tales, but they weren't ready to just be like, "Okay, you can have it."
Yeah. But it just goes to show you that, like, the fame of these Israelites, because we were talking about it on Saturday, the numbers of the group, like the book of Numbers numbers the how many people in each tribe, the men of the age to like fight, and it's like a total of like over 600,000, and that's just 600,000 men that were like ready for war. It doesn't count any women. That doesn't count any children, and that doesn't count for any elderly.
Now, isn't numbers in Hebrew not numbers, but a word that
Yeah, it
means
means
wanderings?
wilderness, but midbar in Hebrew. I think we get the names in English from the Septuagint. Like I know, like Exodus. Well, in Greek, what does Exodus mean? It's literally a compound word, exodos, which means a way out. And then
Were you
numbers.
thinking Sihon was bigger than Og, or Og was bigger than Sihon? I was confused on that.
I don't know who Sihon is. I just know that Og was much larger than Goliath. If you look at a chart on Google, because hey, it's true, right? Because it's on Google. But
Well,
you
I
can
was
see the
looking in the Bible. It
giants in the
says
Bible.
his bed was 9 cubits long, so that'd be right around 13 and a half feet tall.
I think Og was around 36 feet tall.
Well, his bed was only 13 and a half feet long, though.
Unless
I
you're,
don't think a cubit is the same as a foot.
using the
Yeah,
Egyptian royal.
cubit's 18 inches.
The Egyptian royal cubit is the one that Noah used. I think that's why it's the royal cubit for the Egyptians. It's because that's the arm length that Noah had. Or
Can
whatever.
you Google for me real quick? How tall was Og?
It really depends on which cubit you use.
It says between 9 and 13 feet.
Oh, well, I'm way off.
But no, they were definitely big people, big giants, like the Amorites. Like they were probably almost all tall and giant.
But still, 14 feet, 13 feet. That's like bigger than anybody today.
Yeah, those dudes would not even fit in my house. They'd have to like bend down to get in. Be like
Yeah.
Gandalf in a Hobbit
Oh
hole.
my, oh my God, that's so funny that you say that. I love Lord of the Rings. I just watched all the Hobbit.
I haven't seen that yet. I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Hmm
Oh my God, dude.
I stopped
Please.
watching TV and movies when that had already come out.
Yeah, but you okay? Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
We've even talked about Lord of the Rings multiple times. The extended editions.
hmm
Okay, but
Because
you
I've
gotta
had that on
watch.
DVD, but
You've gotta watch the Hobbit extended editions. They're great. It plays like right in everything. Just oh my God.
have you read the book?
No, of course I would never read that stuff.
There's this guy in the middle of it that is able to turn into a bear at night.
Yeah,
And so the hobbits rest in his shack.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was in the movie or not.
Yeah, he's a shapeshifter. He's in the movie a few times. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, dude. It shows you like how the evil guy, like Saruman and all that stuff, how all that stuff plays out. It's pretty dope. Those people are actually in the movie too. Like,
Yeah, I did see like bits and clips that's on the internet, and that green wizard was in a shack and everything was shaking and stuff.
yeah, just go watch it. It really shows you like, uh, what's the evil guy? The guy with the ring. What's his name? Sauron.
Saruman?
Not Saruman. Isn't that the white guy?
You talking about Smeagol?
Not Smeagol.
No,
The guy
the white
that's
wizard.
not the
Sauron.
white wizard. I'm talking about the evil,
Sauron.
the eye.
Yeah,
The
Sauron.
eye.
Sauron.
Okay. It shows how he like pretty much comes back in power. He's called the necromancer. He's the one that like raises those 9 kings from the dead. It's pretty awesome. I just kind of ruined the movie for you for a little bit, but wow.
And
No,
forever.
I've read the book. I know the plot, so you haven't ruined the movie for me.
Oh, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Just go watch it. But back to the the real stuff here.
What does
Yeah.
Amorite mean?
What does Amorite mean?
It's
Mhm.
named after
Okay.
Morius. Morius was a guy. Sometime.
Which verse were you looking at, Stacy?
It's where we're talking about the Amorite kings. Verse 10.
Looks like it might mean mountaineer, maybe.
Okay. Now, I've heard Chuck Missler say something
Yeah,
about this scarlet cord having 3 strands or something. I don't remember where he was going with that or how he would even know.
3 strands.
With a rope that she let them out.
Mm-hmm. That it had 3 strands to it.
Yeah, mine calls it a cord.
Yeah, I think mine says cord to a scarlet. Oh, I think mine says thread. Yeah, it's a thread.
It says
But
an
a cord.
Amorite's one of the Canaanitish tribes.
So Rahab isn't Jericho.
She's what?
She lives in Jericho.
Yeah, in the
That
wall.
is interesting. She lived in the wall.
And the walls crumbled, right?
Yeah, except like her house.
Oh.
That one section, just where the scarlet
Wasn't she
thread.
already gone by then, or no?
No, I'm not sure. I think the house. I think everything, like the whole wall collapses, but that like one section stays in place.
Yep.
That's what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So then why was it necessary to have the scarlet cord?
I don't know, maybe just
So
a
the
sign.
no, I
Because
guess
it kind of, to me, it reminds me of like they dressed Jesus in a scarlet robe, and it has like very significant in the Torah where like a lot of things are scarlet blood related. Maybe that's like a foreshadow. And then it talks about 3 days that they're gonna hide. Then they're gonna put like this kind of blood colored rag or thread outside their window. Kind of means like maybe like blood covered in the blood. Also the blood over the doorpost, all red, crimson, is this scarlet. I know in the I looked it up this weekend actually. In Matthew 27:28, they put on a scarlet cloak or a scarlet robe, and in Greek it's crimson. Crimson is like red, like blood, So
And that was the color they had to crush that worm to get the
I
dye.
couldn't find anything on the worm
no,
being
that's
for the
techelet.
dye or something like that.
No, that's the color blue. Techelet is the color. That's
No,
what
I'm not
they.
talking about the snail that's in the ocean.
Oh, what are you talking about?
But when they made red dye, they used this worm that grows on trees.
Oh, I'm not sure about that one. That's what they do today, like red 40 and all that coloring stuff is from like animals and bugs and stuff.
In fact, Israel doesn't have any blue in their tzitzits because there was a
No, they found
discrepancy
it.
of whether it's the snail or whether it was from something else. And so they said, we don't know which blue, so we're not going to have blue at all.
Well, no, they found it now.
Well, why do they still wear white tzitzits?
Actually, a lot of not a lot, but there are definitely a lot of sects of Judaism that now have it in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Exodus, I think somewhere they're told specifically not to make any covenant with the people of the land. Like don't do anything with them. Like just drive them out, right? And so here we go, like 10 minutes into them getting there, and they're making a deal already with somebody, a person who is a prostitute, which some people would look at as a bad thing. So that's minus on her part already. And then she lies, right? She she lies to save the Israelites, but still she's a liar. Yeah, she lied. And
I
still,
mean, even Abraham too. You think about it, like Yahweh says, "Leave your family and just get out," and he leaves with his nephew.
right?
It's like, bro, I just told you to leave your family. What are you doing?
What's the last verse, man? Because it said, and they said unto Joshua, truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. And I didn't see anyone faint or anything. They were running away.
Mine says melted before us, and it brings it back to the verse 11, I think, where it says, and we have heard in our hearts has melted. See, but mine's saying the word melted. What does yours verse 11 say?
Melt.
Yeah, so my Bible's, I guess, saying both. So it's kind of like,
But that says our hearts melt. But
yeah, it's
in
the
the last
people's.
verse, it's saying the inhabitants.
Yeah, the people in verse 11. This is Rahab telling the two Israelites that, hey, we've heard of your fame, pretty much, like what Yahweh has done for you guys. And then verse 11, and we have heard, and our hearts has melted, and there still does not rise up. So
Is this the same word in both verses
I could look it up.
that's melted? And is this the same word that's used in 2 Peter where the elements shall melt away with fervent heat?
Nah, I mean, it's going to do more work for me now.
Mine says faint, but it says Hebrew. It says melt. So It
Yeah, I'm
probably,
not gonna look what you said. That's too much
Oh,
work.
come on! It's just Second Peter. I mean, you know the verse. It's
All
a
right. So
what?
in Hebrew, the Hebrew word is masses, 45:49, and then when I go to verse 24, and it says fainted is a different word, mug.
Now go to the Septuagint, the more reliable text.
Yeah, no, but you're making me I gotta get up to do that. I mean, I technically could sit here. Here, hold on, let me go. But I can't read Greek. That's the problem, man.
You got the Strong's number though. I mean, you can look at it that way.
No. But if I want to use it on my phone, I can only look at straight Greek.
I see. Okay. Well, then I'll look it up, but you'll have to help me with the verses. What verse in Second Peter is it?
11. Here, let me see
Let
if
me
I
go.
can decipher it.
Let me go
Okay, it
there
says, and we
first.
have heard in our hearts has melted. Okay, I need to look at Kai, and then what's the cardii? Right
That's
here.
heart. That's
Yeah.
heart.
No.
Cardia.
Google.
Looks like it's just in the Old Testament.
Yeah, you wouldn't see that word in
Okay.
the Hebrew.
Second Peter. What chapter? 3.
Yeah, 3, maybe like verse 9 or so. So, and this is the Greek. You ready? In verse, this is the Septuagint, Joshua 2:11. Kai akusates. I don't know. Messe. Oh, geez, that's a big one. But I see the word cardii.
That's heart. That's where we get cardiologist.
Maybe this one. Make
All
to
right.
stand.
Let me look. If it's A in front of it, that's made not to stand, because A will negate
Yeah, I'm trying
anything
to find
else.
a word here that would be has melted.
Okay, I'm turning to Joshua. Verse 11. And having heard, we were amazed in our heart, and there was not yet an established spirit in anyone because of your presence.
What's the Greek word?
Yeah, heart is, a lot, 102 times in the.
Esti eti pneuma.
But the
So
one in verse
That's the word.
24, I couldn't find that in the New Testament at all.
Yeah, because that's a Hebrew one, I think.
Well, not
Strong's
even
number.
using the Greek one, the Greek word.
So in Hebrew, in Greek, it's astonish.
establish,
Yeah. Or I mean,
which comes
it's
from the
strong. Are you
verb
talking
to
about
be.
Strong's number 1839?
No, I'm talking about Strong's number 2476.
How do you spell the word?
Epsilon, sigma, tau, eta.
And what word is that in?
It's in verse 12.
Of Second Peter.
No, I haven't gone to Second Peter yet. I'm just looking at
You're in.
Joshua.
Well, the word
I'm
is
in
in verse 11. It should say, "And we have
verse
heard in
11.
our." Okay, so verse
You're
11.
saying having heard. That's 191.
All right, and
So
our
let me
hearts
parse
has
it out for you.
melted.
We were amazed in our hearts, and there was not an established spirit.
All right, I don't care. I don't want to get up. I'm thinking about getting up, but I don't want to.
So in the Masoretic, our hearts melted, and there was no spirit left in any of us. Okay, so you're looking at amazed in our hearts. I see. So I'm just looking a little bit further past it because
So
I
the
was thinking that the Spirit
Septuagint,
melted away.
Septuagint reads, "And the children of Israel wrought evil
Amazed.
before the Lord and served Balaam." Oh, I'm in the book of Judges. Sorry.
Existeme. Existential.
See, that's the word. That's the word that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I see.
Is that the word where in the Septuagint?
1839.
Yeah. I
Okay.
am astonished.
Now that was in 11 and but the last verse, is that where it's supposed to be also kind of melted
Yeah, let me see.
in verse 24? Because it says, and they
That
said to
word's
Joshua, the Lord has delivered all the land in our hand, and all are struck with awe. All dwelling in that land are struck with awe, and that's katep, katepteki,
what did you just
katepteki,
call me?
2670.4 is what the polyglot has a dot 4 to it, but it would be somewhere around the 2670. But in Second Peter, I'm still looking for shall be destroyed by fire is consumene, or consumene, like consumed. It seems like where we get the English word, and that's 2741, so it's not the same.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's different.
But I don't see why the ESV is saying melted in both cases. Didn't you say in the Hebrew it's even two different words?
Yeah. Yeah, it's let me see here. Joshua. The last verse says, "And they said unto Joshua, truly the Lord has delivered into our hands the land, and even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us." The word faint is mug, which means away. But it's translated, let's see how it's used. Oh, Exodus 15:15 shall melt away.
15:15. Oh my goodness, that's a significant verse.
Yeah, if you want to go read that, the word is used, and the King James says melted. It's
What
1 Samuel
melted?
14:16 melted away upon it, and then
What was it?
Psalms 46:6.
What was it that melted in Exodus?
I'm not, I don't know. It just gives me like five, like a part of the sentence, but shows where the word is used and what the translators translated it as. But it is used as melted multiple times in the Bible. Or faint. May faint, it shall melt. Amos 9:5. Oh, Amos 9 is all about like end time destruction stuff. I guess you could say the hill shall melt.
So then I can say when you were at the hospital the other week, you melted.
Yeah, exactly.
Did the men spend the night, or did she let them out that same day?
I think they went away and spent 3 days outside.
Yeah,
In
so it
verse
doesn't look like
16 it says, "And she said to them, Go to the mountains, lest the pursuers come upon you, and you shall hide there 3 days until the pursuers return, and afterwards you shall go on your way. So it seems like they went to the mountains.
In verse 8 it says, let me see what this other version
Before the
says.
men lay down, she came up to them on the roof.
Yeah, the one version I said reading says before they were trying to go to sleep, basically.
So it looks like they were prepared to spend the night there.
But yeah, they did make a covenant there. It doesn't say covenant anywhere, but they definitely made a deal, and they did not ask God first. But in this case, it was okay.
Because, the other men, they went out to look for him by her word, and they closed the gates behind them, it sounds like. And
It
they're out there
actually,
looking for him.
right, the gates were already closed, and then they reopened the gates to let the men out to go look for him. Did you catch that?
Mm-mm.
Because she says to the king, then the king said to, then the king of Jericho sent to Rahab saying, bring out the men. She says, true, true, I did not, the men came to me, but I did not know where they came from. And when the gate was about to be closed at dark, the men went out.
Verse 7 says they shut the gates afterwards. It doesn't necessarily say that they shut them and reopen them, I don't think, does it?
It doesn't say it, but the way it reads, it seems like that this is already at dark.
Yeah, it seems to me that they were about to close the gates for the night, and then those guys went out right beforehand to go look for the Israelites.
I just think it'd be, okay, they let these guys out, they closed the gates, and it was dark, and then here she lets them out. You would have thought they'd have been easy to catch.
Well, that's why she said go hide, because they're going to be looking for you. It's like this whole deal isn't going to work out very good if you guys get caught, right?
Well, that's why I'm wondering if they spent the night, or did she let them out that same day?
No, they probably went out the window that night on the cord.
But she could have been on the opposite side of the gate, I guess, too.
But I mean, if you want, we can. I mean, some of these chapters here in the beginning, there's not really a lot in them, so we could just blow right through them. There's nothing really cool happening until about chapter 5, but that's when the action starts. I was kind of hoping we could get at least a 5 tonight, maybe. If y'all are down to do more than just one section. Because there's not
Sure.
really a lot. It's just like telling you the story, like preparation. Like the whole next part is just like, the whole next 2 parts are just like crossing the Jordan and setting up stones. So not too much interesting stuff in there, but
Well, you've never heard the take on the panel. It might be something.
true. Anyone else want to take chapter 3? Or I'm down to do like 4 or 5. 3 is kind of boring.
Are you kidding? 3:3 is super significant.
I mean, there's interesting stuff, but I mean, it's like nothing new or crazy is happening. It's like okay, so you split in the waters again. Okay, the priest, and we got the ark again.
Okay, so I'll read 3, but that's as far, Lord willing, that I'll do. So you guys can read some too.
Well, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I don't mind reading. I'll do 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever.
Then Joshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from Shittim, and they came to the Jordan, he and all the people of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. At the end of the 3 days, the officers went through the camp and commanded the people, as soon as you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God being carried by the Levitical priest, then you shall set out from your place and follow it. Yet there shall be a distance between you and it, about 2,000 cubits in length. Do not come near it, in order that you may know the way you shall go, for you have not passed this way before. Then Joshua said to the people, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua said to the priest, take up the ark of the covenant and pass on before the people. So they looked up to the ark of the covenant and went before the people. The Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that I was with Moses, so I will be with you. And as for you, command the priest who bear the ark of the covenant. When you come to the brink of the waters of the Jordan, you shall stand still in the Jordan. And Joshua said to the people of Israel, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, here is how you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth is passing over before you into the Jordan. Now therefore take 12 men from the tribes of Israel, from each tribe a man. And when the soles of the feet of the priest bearing the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off from flowing, and the waters coming down from above shall stand in one heap. And when the people set out from their tents to pass over from the Jordan with the priest bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as soon as those bearing the ark had come as far as the Jordan, the feet of the priest bearing the ark were dipped in the brink of the water. Now the Jordan overflows all its banks throughout the time of harvest. The waters coming down from above stood and rose up in a heap very far away at Adam, the city that is beside Zarethan, and those flowing down toward the sea of the Araba, the salt sea, were completely cut off, and the people passed over opposite Jericho. Now the priest bearing the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firmly on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan, and all Israel was passing over on dry ground until all the nation finished passing over the Jordan.
Nice.
Very nice.
So the water run away from the priest.
I guess it just stood still, maybe, just like it didn't, just dry ground.
So did it make a wall of water? Is that what it's saying? It stood up in a heap?
Maybe. Let's just go back in time and look.
Hmm.
Do-do-do-do.
Well, I know it says in the beginning there that they're supposed to stay far away from the ark, but then they're supposed to, I guess they have the river blocked up farther, and then they're crossing down farther. I don't know. In order to be their distance
that's
from the ark, the priests would have to be farther upriver.
Yeah, I always
by
thought that
by
they just like
2,000
walked
cubits.
by them. Interesting.
yeah, it seems like it stops flowing, like wherever it was going, and it just stops. Like it didn't flow elsewhere, or it just stopped for some because the ark was there.
So Yeshua leads them into a way that they had never gone to before in verse 4.
Right, and back in the day, he said, I shall send an angel before you, or whatever, to guide you or keep the way. So,
I mean, it's all a place where they've never been before. They all just left Egypt.
But it mentions it, though. So you still have the Septuagint in front of you?
I never had it. Well, I mean, I had it all in Greek, but that's very hard to decipher.
So verse 10, do you see Zoe in there next to Theos?
Okay, I could do that.
Yeah, okay, verse 10. See if there's Zoe in there next to Theos.
I know Zoe's life, right?
Yes,
Let's take a look.
because it says the living God is among you.
Joshua chapter 3, verse... Oh, I'm in the wrong way. Hold on.
Verse 10.
Joshua 10. Oh, no. Joshua chapter 3, verse 10.
You know what Theos looks like.
Yeah, obviously.
So just look right next to Theos on either side.
It says, Cordio tu Theo Moen Kai Tus. Hold on, just click the button. No, there's no Zoe there. Nope. But the word Allah is there in verse 4.
I have in the ESV, there's a little letter here that says D, but I don't know what that means. It almost looks like there's a little note, but I don't see. But the difference between this and crossing the Red Sea is that before, when they were crossing the Red Sea, they didn't have the ark in front of them.
where was it? In the middle or at the back? Where they didn't even have it. Yeah, they didn't even have it.
They didn't even make it yet.
Yeah, they didn't even make it yet, so. I don't know if it was the ark per se that stopped the water, or if it was the ark and the priests, or the priests. But it seems like they were all kind of important to be there to do it.
It really does sound, because it's mentioned at least twice, it was the foot of the priest.
Yeah.
Where they step. That's where the water will part.
See, but if that's where it parted and that's where they had to cross, then the Israelites had to go right next to the ark while it was standing in the middle of the Jordan.
Well, it does say 2,000 cubits in length, not in perimeter, which I don't know if that would be the same or not.
But you see, not so much in that chapter.
"12 men from the tribes of Israel, from each tribe a man. And when the soles of their feet of the priest bearing the ark of the covenant, the Lord of all the earth shall rest the waters of the Jordan." Why take one man from each of the 12 tribes? Is that the 12 disciples?
That's going to come up in the next chapter a little bit, I think.
Okay.
That's how the next chapter starts off.
Yes.
Any chance you two want to split 4 and then I'll do 5?
There must be some serious some demon wars in chapter 5, because that's what he really wants to do.
No, that's the what is it, the governor or the captain in chief in force or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get
Okay.
circumcised.
I mean,
You
5.
two guys can split up 4, right?
That shouldn't be too hard for you guys, right? Or unless one of you just wants to do the whole 4, but it is a little bit longer, so I figured maybe split it and then I'll do 5. Because 5 is where the action starts. Like, that's where it starts to get good and crazy.
There's
silly stuff happens.
24 verses. So that's 12 each.
I'll do the first 12.
Cool.
And it was when all the nation had completely crossed over the Jordan, Yahuwah spoke to Joshua, saying, "Take 12 men for you out of the people, one man each of the tribe, and charge them, saying, Take 12 stones from this place." That was funny. Let's see. From the middle of the Jordan, from the place where the feet of the priests were fixed, and you shall carry them over, which with you, and lay them down in the lodging place which you stay in tonight. And Joshua called to the 12 men whom he had readed from the sons of Israel, one man out of each tribe. And Joshua said to them, "Cross over before the ark of Yahuwah your Elohim to the middle of the Jordan, and each man of you lift up one stone on his shoulders, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Israel. And this shall be a sign among you, when your children ask hereafter, saying, What are these stones to you? You shall say to them, Because the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant, and Yahuwah, as it crossed over into the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off, and these stones are for the memorial of the sons of Israel all the days." And the sons of Israel did as Joshua commanded, and they took out 12 stones out of the middle of the Jordan, as Yahuwah had spoken to Joshua, according to the numbers of the tribes of the sons of Israel, and crossed over with them to the lodging place, and laid them down there, even the 12 stones that Joshua lifted up in the middle of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests bearing the ark of the covenant stood firm, and they are there until this day. And the priests bearing the ark were standing in the middle of the Jordan until everything were finished, that Yahuwah had commanded Joshua to speak to the people according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hurried and crossed over. And it happened, when the people had finished crossing over the ark of Yahuwah, that the priests crossed over before the people. And the sons of Reuben and of Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh crossed over in battle array before the sons of Israel, as Moses had spoken to them. I'm just going to keep going. And about 40,000 armed men of the army crossed over before Yahuwah for battle to the plains of Jericho. And in that day Yahuwah made Joshua great in the sight of all Israel. And they feared him all the days of his life, even as they feared Moshe. And Yahuwah spoke to Yahushua, saying, Order the priests or the Kohanim who carry the ark of the testimony, that they rise out of the Yarden, as Yahushua commanded the priests, saying, Rise out of the Yarden. And it happened when the Kohanim bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, had come up out of the midst of the Yarden, as the soles of the feet of the Kohanim had been lifted out of the dry land. The waters of the Yarden returned to their place, and it flowed over the banks as before. And the people came out of the Yarden on the 10th of the first month, and camped in the Gilgal, in the east borders of Jericho. And the 12 stones which they took out of the Jordan were raised up in Gilgal by Yahushua. And he spoke to the sons of Israel, saying, When your sons ask their fathers hereafter, saying, What do these stones mean? Then you shall make your sons know, saying, Israel came out of this Yarden out of dry land, or on dry land, before Yahuwah our Elohim dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you crossed over, as Yahuwah your Elohim did to the Red Sea, which he dried up before you until you crossed over, so that all the peoples of the land shall know that the hand of Yahuwah is strong, so that you may fear Yahuwah your Elohim all the days.
Sounds like Captain Kirk.
So that chapter is just like him saying the same three things like 30 times.
I know. I was like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, but those stones. Yeah, but those stones. Couldn't the stones be the 12 disciples who now are forever a memorial?
We are living stones being built upon one another into a spiritual house to offer up the praise. But yeah, that chapter was a pretty interesting one.
I think those stones might still be there today, like to this day. In addition to back then, they might actually still be there. I don't think anybody's found them though. At least I haven't seen any pictures claiming to be of those stones.
Well, if it was in the midst of the Jordan, that means that it would be underwater, right?
No, I mean they took some out too, and they put them at Gilgal. So they took them out of the water and put them at Gilgal.
I made a video about these stones, and I thought maybe might have found them on Google Earth. Like about 30,000 people have watched it. It surprised me.
Nice.
Well, verse 9.
Did you say verse 9?
Yeah, of chapter 4.
Oh, yeah, it's until this day. But what does this day mean?
Yeah, but where it is, it says, And Joshua set up the 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priest bearing the Ark of the Covenant had stood. So when they touched the water, that's where the stones were. And then when they left, the water returned.
So it's covered by water, you think?
These 12 stones. I mean, there may be other stones that were set up in Gilgal and stuff, but it looks like these 12 stones are covered by water.
Well, just looking at that video, that I made, and it looks like it's in the river. Yeah, it's right in the middle of the river.
What does it mean that the half tribe of Manasseh?
In the Torah, there is a part where Reuben, Gad, and then half of Manasseh, it says like when they crossed over the Jordan, like they were like, oh, like I don't know exactly where, but I know that it was when they were like going around, they were like saying like, oh, to Moses, man, we want that land. Can we have that? And like Moses pretty much is like, yeah, sure, when we go over there, you can have it.
Okay.
But I would have to find that for you though. I think it's more later in Joshua. Like it'll like be like, oh, and then they left and settled in their own land or whatever.
Now, I've also seen the wording passed over. Is this the same as the Hebrew word Passover?
Pesach? I'm not sure. But hold
It's
on,
in
I
verse
just
12.
I just saw something really funny. I'm sorry. I'm
What'd
gonna
you see?
post it. I'm gonna post it on. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but for some reason this just made me laugh. I just posted it. Oh jeez.
If that's Google.
just the picture of the guy's face. Oh jeez. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, let me see here. I'm going to look up. What verse is it exactly?
I just had it. Passed over is in verse 11.
All right, let's see. And it shall come to pass when they shall pass over. Pesach. Let's see. A bar. No. Well, actually, here's the thing. I'm going to go into the interlinear and see every single word here. Which is,
It's twice in verse
yeah, when
11.
I do this, it'll be a lot better. I can, for some reason, when you just go on Blue Letter Bible and you click one word, like it'll highlight three words, and like they're saying that these three words are this Hebrew word, even in the Greek. But when you actually like go into like an interlinear, you see like everything. I don't know if that made any sense, but if you were here, I would show you. Then you'd be like, "Oh, I see."
It does. That's the reason why I don't particularly care for Blue Letter Bible, although Matt really likes that one, I think.
Well, I'm using blue. I mean, I don't know. Just forget it. It doesn't look like the word Pesach is used. No, it's not. It's like a Hebrew word 5674. A bar, yabar, something like that. It's translated as. Wow, it's a pretty big word. Jeez, holy crap! Hold on.
Is that also in Genesis chapter 1 where the Spirit of the Lord brooded over the waters? Or is that another word?
It's first used in Genesis 8:1 when it said something made a wind to pass over the earth. And then it says, and Abraham passed through the land, Genesis 12:6. Genesis 15:7, the lamp that passed between the pieces. So it's not like crossed over, or I guess you could kind of use it in that sense, but it's not Pesach, like the Passover. That's what you were alluding to.
Right.
But I'm gonna look up that thing I was telling you about with the half tribe and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they took those 12 stones and built them up in the middle of the Jordan, but then when they left, they took them. Or they left them and then took 12 different stones. But it seems they had 12 stones when they were at Gilgal as well. So. I mean, how are you going to point to the water and be like, these stones, see the stones?
Well,
it's like, no, I don't see the stones. They're in the water.
Mm-hmm. But it does say, and there these stones are until this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
That means all in the future, you know, when your children ask you about the stones, when you're telling about Joshua. What do the stones mean, Daddy?
I would say it was just until that time when that was written, right?
Yeah, up until whenever the writer recorded it, it was still there at that time. Just like when Josephus writes some stuff, like it's there until this day. Well, it's not there anymore, but it was for Josephus when he was around.
Well, your children shall ask in time to come. What do those stones mean to you? So it's real significant about verse 7. Then you shall tell them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord.
So I found it's in Numbers chapter 32. Pretty much the whole chapter. It's pretty much like Moses, like them asking, like, "Hey Moses, like we want this land."
This was Manasseh.
Yeah, half the tribe of Manasseh. It even says, verse 29, even Moses said to them, if the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben pass over the Jordan with you, each armed for battle before Yahweh, and the land shall be subdued before you, then you shall give to them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not go over armed with you, they shall have possession among you in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben replied, saying, as Yahuwah has said to your servants, we shall do. We ourselves will pass over armed before Yahuwah into the land of Canaan, so that the land of our inheritance on the side of the Jordan may be ours. And Moses gave to them even the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, Og, whatever,
Og.
kingdom Og, the king of Bashan, the land by the cities which their borders, even the cities of the land all around. And the sons of Gad built Dibon. Okay, but then I looked, and they actually get that in Numbers chapter. I mean, not Numbers, in Joshua chapter. So we just read that they actually did do what they said they were going to do, and they would arm themselves when they crossed the Jordan.
Well,
And
they
then,
didn't. They died.
well, yeah, like, but their son, their descendants, their children that were there did it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
then in Joshua chapter 12, verse 6, it says, Moses, the servant of Yahuwah, and the sons of Israel struck them, and Moses, the servant of Yahuwah, gave it for a possession to the Reubenites, to the Gadites, and to half of the tribe of Manasseh. And then in Joshua 13:8, it says, verse 7, it says, now then, divide the land for the inheritance to the 9 tribes and to half the tribe of Manasseh. With him, the Reubenites and the Gadites receive their inheritance, which Moses gave to them beyond the Jordan, eastward, as Moses, the servant of Yahweh, or Yahuwah, has given them. So I guess they got like a special land, which we just read and stuff.
So this is the first battle with Joshua. And this is the plains,
Jericho.
the plains of Jericho. Is that the plains of Jericho? Does that mean the outskirts of Jericho, the outer area, or does it mean the plains of Jericho being all of Jericho?
I mean, they took Jericho, they destroyed it.
So it was these 40,000 that did it?
Yep.
Well, I just took a picture of the thing on the internet, and this is, I guess, kind of like what it looks like, I guess. So you have Reuben, Gad, and then half the tribe of Manasseh, all on the right side of the map.
Oh,
I guess. But I don't know. Sometimes these images are very fishy. But it looks like, I mean, I'm looking right now. It literally looks like every map that there is says that. I mean, that's what I guess they must have did. They're still neighbors. It's just that they wanted the other side of the Jordan River.
but Manasseh is the only tribe
That's split
where
in
the
two.
Jordan River splits in two.
Yeah, they're on both sides.
And what does Manasseh mean?
I don't know. Look that up. Let's see.
Yeah, those are the guys that went over and they did the thing with a couple priests. They did the marching and whatnot around the walls. The armed people. All the rest, I guess, were chilling back at camp.
Manasseh means causing to forget. Yeah, the root word is nisha, which means literally forget. So causing to forget. That's kind of weird.
I can only think of one thing that God said he would forget.
Our sins.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you want to do chapter 5 because it's getting kind of late.
It's up to you.
Yep.
Guys. You want to do it or save it for next time?
I think we should save it. It's a very juicy chapter.
Okay.
That it is.
It's a very good one. It's probably like the best in Joshua.
It's getting the whole next couple chapters are pretty exciting.
Yeah, I do love when they march around like chapter 6 and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot how good this book was. But yeah, I gotta go to bed. I got work tomorrow. It's cool that we did more than one chapter, so we can kind of somewhat get through the book in 2 weeks instead of 50 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Really made it